I don't know if it counted down or what was going on, but it wouldn't. The
It counted
countdown
down.
didn't work.
Something did.
Anyways, we're live on Facebook.
Are we live?
Yeah, I don't know what
We
was
are
going
live.
on. Yeah, we're live. That's what happens
welcome.
after you have a computer update.
Well, welcome to this episode of This Guy, That Guy podcasting. As you can tell, there's an extra face joining us today. This is our special guest, David Novak. Those of you that have been following, maybe I'm commenters, a great inspiration for.
It's
Ken's
freezing.
cutting out. Yeah, Ken.
Is it freezing?
You're freezing, buddy. Sorry.
Am I?
You're in Arizona. I can't believe you're freezing.
Well, that's why it's freezing, because you're in Arizona. Oh, what the heck?
Oh, well. Is that better?
Is this QVC?
Yeah, better.
I was invited to QVC. I don't know what this is.
I thought it was a whole shop. What's going on around here? Well, I don't know if you heard anything. Welcome to the show, David. I appreciate you being here.
Nice to be here.
Like I was saying when you couldn't probably hear me was I think David's one of our biggest supporters and prayer supporters and encouragers, and he's been in this a little bit longer than we have. And when you hear me talk about gospel nuggets, I'm talking about David, and he's got some great. It's all about relationship. His podcast, and I love listening to it. And when we go on trips, we listen to it. So this is the man here that we look up to and enjoy his company when he comes on, and appreciate his feedback.
Hey, thanks for saying all that. So you got the copy that I sent you to read, right?
Oh yeah,
all that stuff you just said.
I didn't miss anything, right?
You're very complimentary, and I really, really appreciate that. You actually listen to my show while you're on trips?
We do, my wife and I. Yeah.
Oh, you guys must be hard up for entertainment. But I, honestly, in all sincerity, I really appreciate that. I really do. So you guys, you're awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking time out of your day and being our first guest on StreamYard and playing around with this technology. And we appreciate you being patient with us.
No worries.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I mean, it's so great to see you.
To do some
come out again, Ken.
I'm sorry, there's a little bit of freeze in there. But it froze on his smiling face, though, which is kind of nice.
It is. I mean, that's good. That's good. At least two of us are here. 2 out of 3.
Okay.
We'll carry on without him, probably.
Is that better?
Oh, there you are, Ken.
Oh, there you go. Back. Well, you froze on us, so we held down the fort while we were gone.
Go ahead, Nick. Are we back?
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, all right.
Wow.
The three of
you.
That's
Wi-Fi.
Well, let's. Oh, good for you. All right, that's what I had to do.
You would think hardwired would be better, but apparently.
I know that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm going to hardwire it because David Novak's coming. It's super important that we have a great connection, and then this is what happens.
It's all good. It's all good. I didn't have anything else to do today anyway. I was just going to take the trash out, do the dishes. So you guys went right to the top.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Well,
Dave, tell us.
Yes.
I was going to have him. I was going to have him give us a little update on what's been going on since last time he was on, and a little bit about just tell us what you've been doing.
Okay. Remind me, how long ago was I on? About a year ago?
Yeah, it was about a year, I think.
Yeah,
about a year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if it's been a year, I guess I was probably getting ready to shoot that Western, Lost Outlaw. So in the meantime, we shot it. Excuse me, sorry. And it's all done. It's in the can, as they say. And I had a really, really awesome time working on that Western. Bunch of great people, bunch of great Christian people. I really had a good time. Daryl Mapson, he's the producer, director, writer, and he played my brother Quinn. And Jeff Smith was also one of the producers, and he played Marshall Daniels. And it was a really great time. It was a faith-based Western. Okay.
Nice.
But it's, yeah, really cool. So it's got a message in it, but it does, I mean, we've got action in it. We've got people get shot, trains get robbed. I mean, you know, we got some fun stuff. I got to ride horse. You know, I love riding horses. I've been doing that for a lot of years. I'm not a pro or anything like that, but I used to own horses a long time ago. And well, anyway, yeah. So I got to ride horses and shoot guns, and you know, we had a lot of great time. But Daryl did a great job with the script, and we just had such a good time. And I want to invite you guys, and I know you're in Arizona, but I'll just put it out there, and anybody that's listening, we're actually having a public premiere at the Oakhurst Yosemite Theater, which is in Oakhurst, right outside of Yosemite. June 17th, so next month at 9 p.m. And if you want more information, you could actually go on to Facebook. You can go to my page. You can find information, David Novak or David Novak Actor, or you can go on Lost Outlaws page, which would even be better. So Lost Outlaw number 2, I think it is, Lost Outlaw, the movie. But anyway, if you want to go, we're going to have a big premiere, and lots of people are going to be there, I believe, and we'd love to see you guys and whoever can make it. But so anyway, so that's what I've been doing. And I've got another project coming up, I think in the fall, probably another Western. I can't say too much about it yet, but it sounds like a real fun thing to do. So, and I've been doing my podcast pretty regularly. What else have I been doing? Been doing some trips and things like that. So how about you guys?
Go ahead, Nick.
Well, yeah, I'm working on getting out of my second, which is so I don't have to work overnights and do real estate. So I'm working on real estate. We're trying to get this podcast thing going and trying these new streams or these new ways of out there, and helping out at youth, and it's been pretty crazy. So yeah, it's been about it.
Nick's the
what about you, Ken?
Perfect guy of burning the candle at both ends. So Nick likes working day and night, 24/7.
Wow. Well, I've seen a lot of his postings on real estate.
You got to do it though.
Like selling a lot of houses, so good for you. That's awesome.
I am.
But yeah, so we're just getting this podcast thing going. Am I froze again? Is that better?
Good now.
Good. Yeah, just doing the podcast thing. I know we're going to ask you questions here pretty soon about COVID and Hollywood and you and stuff like that. But I just finally went back to the office after 15 months of work and from home. And so I've been back at the office about 2 weeks now. And I'm the first one in the customer service team. I'm a manager there. So I'm the only one on the floor. So I get kind of acclimated to being back in the office and a bunch of new faces and faces I haven't seen in a while. So get used to that. And, I just had a new granddaughter born. She'd probably seen the pictures a couple of months ago. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So just playing up the grandpa role even more and having fun with the grandbabies, and they come over every weekend and hang out. So that's kind of what we've been doing.
That's a whole new deal, isn't it? Being a grandpa, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like it. So let's get into Nick. Unless you have anything, I know we got some questions for David, and I know he's also going to join us for our topic of the day, which is going to be really exciting to get his input, not just words that come across the screen, but we're going to get this live input from David. So I guess I'll start with the first question is, what has COVID changed in the movie industry?
Oh, wow. Well, I can tell you from a personal standpoint, pre-COVID, you know, we would when we audition, we you know, I live in the LA area, okay, but I actually live in Orange County, which is right next to LA area. So every time we would do an audition for a movie or TV or whatever the heck it is, I would drive into LA and I would do the audition. And the traffic down here is horrendous. So, you know, I give myself 2 hours to get to LA every time, even though it's only 35 miles. I mean, that's bumper to bumper.
Wow.
So every time I got an audition, I'd be going to LA, you know, 2 hours there, 2 hours back for, you know, a 5-minute ordeal. That's how long an audition is. However, now with COVID, everything changed and everything went to online auditions. So everybody's doing self-tape, which we just, you know, record it, you know, and then we email it in. But I got to tell you, it's so much better. It's a time saver. I mean, you're talking 2 hours there, 2 hours back, a few minutes there, not to mention other stuff. So you're talking, say, 5 hours you're saving by not having to do all that. Plus, you can make it exactly the way you want it. So if you want to do a retake, you can do a retake. So of course I have kind of a private studio here, so I have all the equipment and all that kind of stuff. But so, you know, in the middle of COVID, you know, with COVID going on, so we've got the online auditions. It also knocked down production, you know, 90%, which is not a good thing. But things are ramping up again now. You know, they're starting to produce TV shows and films and everything. Independent films and things like that kind of kept going, but with the unions on the big stuff, you know, not so much. So those are some of the big things, but things are ramping up again. So,
do you think, kind of piggyback off that question, do you think the home auditions is the way of the future with independent films or even the big films, or do you think it's going to go back to the way it used to be?
No, I actually think it's going to kind of stay the way it is. You know, not that they won't bring you in, you know, on a callback or a second callback, let's just say, or a producer's final callback. They still might, you know, bring you in on that. But you know, the way things are going, I think everybody's gotten kind of used to the online auditions and stuff like that. And personally, I love it because it saves so much time. And you know, it's like. Well, yeah, okay. I was going to say something funny, but I won't. Yes, I will. Like, actually, I'm sitting here in my underwear, but you only see my shirt the way it is. So, see how online stuff is? Just kidding.
That's how we held our business meetings at work. I thought everybody did that.
I know. Okay. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry. Lord, forgive me.
He's wearing a shirt.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna stay online. I really, really do. So, yeah.
Good.
I'll tell you one more thing. Now, when my wife watches this thing that we're doing, she's going to watch that segment. She's going to up the side of the head, and she's going to say, "Why did you say that? You're not supposed to say stuff like that." And I'll say, "I know." So anyway, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
Oh, I love it. That's great. So, what are with COVID and stuff? I mean, last time we talked was before all that happened. What type of do you think challenges have you faced or people that you know have faced since COVID?
You don't mean as an actor, you just mean as a person, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, just a person. I mean, you could be an actor, just you know, in general.
An actor who's a person, yeah. You guys know, yeah. You guys know, I think, and I did one of my podcast episodes. I actually did an episode on this. It's called My COVID Experience, but I actually had COVID. My wife and I contracted it back in January of this year. Actually, New Year's Day is when I found out we had it. So horrible experience. I'd never been this sick in my life, and neither had my wife. But I'll tell you, well, we got so fatigued. I mean, we couldn't even hardly make it from one end of the house to the other. but when you're flat on your back and you're just down for the count, so to speak, who are you going to talk to? You're going to, I mean, I think I have a pretty good relationship with the Lord. I really, really do. But during COVID, boy, we bonded even more so. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I don't mean out of fear, God heal me necessarily, but although I did talk to him a whole lot about that. But no, just spending a whole lot more time with the Lord, but being so incredibly thankful for everything I have, and just you never know how much you appreciate something until you don't have it, and that even goes down to energy to be able to get up and walk around. I mean, we couldn't do anything, so it's kind of like I was thanking the Lord for just the health enough to be able to walk around. Thank you, Lord, that I can that I'm alive today. Thank you for getting me through another day. You're just really more cognizant of everything that God's done in your life, and being more and more grateful. So I would say my relationship went up with the Lord a whole nother level during COVID. And so looking back on it, Paul said, in his epistles that paraphrase that he was actually thankful for going through persecutions and stuff. And you're not happy about persecution or getting COVID, obviously, but when you come through it and you look back on it and you can say, hey, God used that to draw me closer. Not that he caused it, no way, but
Right.
he used it anyway. He all things work to good for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose, and that's in
Right.
Romans. And I really believe that that happened. So anyway, that's part of my COVID experience there. So
nice. Well, Ken said he'll be coming back on, but we can keep going.
I miss you, Ken. But I have you, Nick.
Yeah. So I had a similar experience. I didn't have COVID, but when I was in ICU after heart surgery, I had similar experience. Just like there's nothing else to do but build your relationship with God. There's really nothing else to do. And I have this deeper sense of connection and relationship with him since then. And but once that you have that deep relationship, I was talking to my wife about this yesterday, was that's when the adversary comes at you even harder. And because he knows that you have things, he doesn't worry about the people that aren't seeking a relationship with God. He's the people that are. So yeah, then we were talking about that yesterday. And then funny thing is that youth group on Sunday, when I was doing the middle school, when we were teaching middle school kids, we were talking about Romans 8:28 was what you're talking about. All things work together. So yeah. You talked a little bit about upcoming projects that you kind of have a lid on so looking forward to that. As an actor, let's see, Ken didn't send me the questions he had for me, but
that's okay.
Anything else as far as like post COVID that you think is going to be different in either the acting world or just you personally once things start opening up back in, because you guys are pretty shut down still, or are you guys opening back up?
It's beginning to open up quite a bit right now, and I've been getting more and more auditions for film and TV where they weren't really existing at all during the COVID thing. I mean, there weren't auditions, there weren't projects, everything was pretty much shut down. So now I'm actually like just in the last couple of weeks, I've had a couple new auditions, for TV, for film, that kind of stuff. And then, so I'm waiting to hear back on a couple of other projects. So hopefully next time I talk to you, I can, share even more. But like I said, I do have another project coming up, which is another Western. I, can't say much more about it than that, but I believe that's going to be kind of in the fall, I think. So anyway, but I think it's beginning to open up a bit right now. Of course, on set, people are still wearing masks, and they're still doing all that. But of course, the CDC says that's being relaxed now, so everything's changing, as you know. So I don't know. I could go on a whole lot about that, but I won't. So
I could
know what I'm saying.
Yeah. With like family dynamics, I know like since COVID started with like school has been kind of, I
Oh,
guess tough. I feel like kids have missed out on a year of school. Like, what's your perspective or like experience with that? Coming from, I know you don't have kids in the house anymore, but
well, I have one kid still in the house. She's in her 20s, but she's engaged to be married. But I do have grandkids, and um, one of them is just turning 16. Okay, and she's a junior in high school, and she's basically been shut down completely from school. And now she's gone back to school, but only 1 day a week, and the rest, yeah, and the rest of it's been online. And she has told me that, I mean, trying to learn in that environment is ridiculous. And not only are they not learning as much, but there's no interaction with the other kids, and it's been absolutely horrible. Not just for Mackenzie, who I'm talking about, but the other
yeah,
grandkids are a little bit younger too. She's the oldest of the grandkids, but none of them are able to really learn anything right now. It's like they've lost a whole year, even though they're doing stuff online. It's been horrible, and honestly, I really believe that the kids could have gone back months ago. But that's just my own personal
yeah,
opinion. But I really do. I really do.
I think
So
so too. Yeah, my son's still only doing 1 day, but he like his school's the only one that's just doing 1 day a week. All the other schools in Tucson are doing pretty much full time.
really,
And if he just learned anything, I feel like he's like almost extreme. He needs to do the grade over again just so that he can
I know,
continue to learn,
I
again, because
know.
he just doesn't care something. And the work's super easy. When he does online, it's like an hour and he's done. He just
Mm.
doesn't get it. It's tough. I feel like parents should get the teachers recognition this year.
Absolutely, because you guys are homeschooling basically, and I mean, right? You are. So you should get a teacher certificate for sure for that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Did did Ken send you the topic of the day?
Let me, you know what? Let me check in my he didn't text it to me. He probably emailed it to me. No, actually put it on my
It may
Facebook
have.
Messenger thing. So go ahead, fire away.
Okay. All right. So let's get into topic of the day.
Okay.
Unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about, we can kind of talk about topic of the day. And in perfect timing,
Oh, there he
we have
is.
Mr. Ballard back.
There he is.
Oh, hey, you look a lot better than you did before. You look better.
Computer problems. It shut down and restarted on me.
I can't hear
Well,
you.
we were talking about you. Well, actually, I was saying
Oh.
nice things, but Nick was bashing you, man. I don't understand, but you know.
This guy, I tell
He's
you.
used to it. Ken's used to it.
Oh gosh.
Oh man. Well, we're just gonna get into topic of the day,
Okay.
Ken.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, we're gonna get topic of the day. All right, cool. Maybe. What's topic of the day? All right. So this one Ken sent. This is 5 ways that men isolate themselves without realizing, especially during COVID. So um I'll just kind of start. Number 1 is avoiding social situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm I I'm not that way. I don't relate to this very well because I do like being social. I'd rather be social than at home, but there are times and moods when I would rather just stay at home and text somebody rather than call them or go see them. I don't know. What do you think about the way that we avoid social situations, David? Are you kind of that way, or?
You know what? I'm kind of like you though. I'm very social. I mean, it's easy to text, than to make the phone call. But actually, I love being social. And somebody invites us out for dinner or something. It's like, yeah, let's go. I'm all for it. But they don't very much. Why is that? I don't know. But yeah, no, I don't really avoid social situations so much. But I know a lot of people do, and there's especially during the COVID thing, and there's been a lot of fear floating around out there, and I see people like wearing masks, like kind of when they don't even need to. like when you're out in the park, for example. It's like, because I go to the park a lot, I work out all the time, and
Yeah.
so I'm at the park and I'm walking, I'm all by myself, and I'm walking, I see somebody 100 yards away and they're by themselves and they have a mask on, stuff like that. So, and it's not a put down. I mean, it's, if that's what you need to do, I understand that, but there's a lot of fear going on out there. So that could be an avoidance of social situations. So
Yeah, and
it's just my
I think
opinion.
I
I
think you
hope I
nailed
don't
it
get
on the
beat up online for this now. So
well. I got your back.
yeah,
I know. I I know that it's the fear thing, right? That's the
right.
biggest thing. It's the fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. My wife's the antisocial one. I'm usually the one that has to drag her to
Mm.
go. So, Ken, can you hear us better now?
I can.
Okay. So we were
Hear me?
just talking about we we're talking about the topic of the day, the number one, which is avoiding social situations.
Yeah.
Dave and I are kind of the same boat. We're not really that way. Are you a avoid social situation person, or are you up to do anything?
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah,
I'm kind of the center of attention. I like being around people. I like
it's true.
interacting with people. That's one thing I missed about being at work was the interaction. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, you met a lot of people, especially during this past year, to where I think it kind of put them in that little shell, to where they're like, "No, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to keep my doors locked. Everything's getting delivered. I'm going to avoid all situations." And I think sometimes to a guy's ego, it kind of gets punched in the gut, right? In this whole situation, like, what can I do? How am I going to protect my family? And I think when we're in that situation as guys, as husbands, as the head of the household, they're looking to us. It can make us kind of go into our shell, right? And that determines kind of like what you said, Dave, before I lost all connection. When you had COVID, is you draw closer to God at that time. When you got two choices: draw away or draw closer, right?
Right.
And during the times of isolation, that I think is so dangerous for men to be in that situation to where they draw away from God, and it just pulls them deeper and deeper into isolation. And you know, you've probably seen it, with people is dark hole they go down. It's hard to get them out of it.
Right. You can really get into depression. And then once you start doing that, then the enemy comes and whispers in your ear, that nobody loves you and nobody gives a rip about you. And then you start feeling sorry for yourself. And then it's just a tumbling thing that you're going down Alice's, rabbit hole there. And yeah, you gotta fight that stuff with everything you have, with the help of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
One thing,
number two.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna go on to number two of things that we do as men to isolate ourselves. Is we are addicted to our devices, and I'll admit that I am,
Yeah,
even when I don't need to be. I am.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm on my device
it's hard.
too.
Matter of fact, I'm checking my
I know.
email right now, guys.
There you go.
Oh,
Is that another callback that you got for another movie you can tell us about?
well, as a matter of fact, no, I'm really
Oh,
bad
man.
I'm really bad with my phone. I'm just, God, I just, Lord help me not to be addicted. But, if I'm not checking my email, I'm looking at Facebook, or I'm looking at, portfolio stuff, or, whatever. I just, oh, Lord help me with that. So yeah, I admit it. I admit it.
I think especially now we're
Yeah.
connected more in history, right? And everything's just at our fingertips. Everything's right there, really available. We were around our laptops, we were carrying around tablets, now we're carrying around our phones. We don't need laptops. We don't need, our tablets. And again, kind of going back to this last 15 months, if we weren't careful, we're isolating ourselves. And then we're also, attached to these devices that um, will lead us down that hole. It's like a leash, right? I'm going to isolate myself. I don't know what to do with my family. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't feel like a man. I don't feel like the husband I should be. Let me just wrap this lasso around, not to, lost outlaw, but wrap my lasso around it and go down this hole, because that's what I know. It's right here. It's the
Right.
middle of the day. And if you lost your job during this time, you had nothing but time.
Exactly. I was gonna echo that right there, because if you, like you just said, if you weren't working, not only do you not only do you have a lot of time, but you're probably feeling bad about yourself because you're not doing, like you kind of said a second ago, you're not doing the manly thing, which is providing for your family and all that, and maybe through no fault of your own, just because the circumstances, but it does mess with your head, that's for sure.
Yeah. I was thinking about our device and then how our attention span. If you think about it, like we start out like this is going to date me, but if you start out like Facebook or MySpace, there was all this
Mhm.
details right about you, and then you went to Facebook, which was less details about you, and then you went to Twitter, which is 120 characters, and now it's TikTok, which is like less than a minute. So we just gradually just have our attention spans are less and less over time, and I think one of the great advices that on this article was just says put your device down before you go to bed and use the last few hours of your day to have a real connection with your family. And I think that's something that I need to realize, and something that I think just kind of good advice to have that personal connection again with your family, because it's easy when everybody's sitting around, together, but they're separate because they're on their devices.
Exactly. So you're all watching a movie, and everybody's watching a movie, and you look to your right, and your wife's on her phone, and you look to your left, and they're on their phone, and you have your phone in your hand. It's like, what's going
Yep.
on here, right?
Yep.
It's,
Exactly.
yeah.
All right. So number 3 is we don't ask for help.
Oh, stop. That's not true. Oh, wait. It didn't say we didn't ask for directions. Oh, God. Okay. That's a whole different
Yeah.
thing.
We don't need directions. We know how to get there.
I think this is
If
a
I've been
great
there once, I've been there 1,000 times.
right? I can get there anyway. But this is a great one. These are all great. They kind of coincide with each other. We isolate, we're on devices, and we know there's something going on. We know that we've got to get control of it, but we don't want to ask for the help, right? Because we're guys and we're men and we're the
Right.
Tim Allens of the world, and we're going to do this, and I can do this on my own. And I think that's one of the biggest disconnects is we can't. David mentions all the time. We mentioned without the help of the Holy Spirit, it's hard. It's
Right.
pull yourself out of that hole. It's hard to pull yourself just over the edge to see what's on the other side of the hedge there, without asking for help. And it doesn't have to be, everybody's different. It doesn't have to be like a loud cry, screaming, gnashing of teeth, help me. It could be just, right? It could be, um, I don't know what to do. I'm dark. I'm lost. But again, you got guys just like, I can't do that. I've never asked for help, right? I've always done everything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can tell you I'm pathetic without help, at least God's help anyway. Completely
Yeah.
pathetic. I ask for help 15 million times a day, I think, and it's because I mean, really, we can't, like you just said, we can't do it on our own. But you know what? And I think you might be alluding to this, but I mean, even asking for help from your spouse too. Um, I mean, it's like this morning, for example. I'll give you, here's a good one this morning. My wife and I were talking about a financial thing, an investment thing, and I wasn't quite sure what to do about this investment thing. Should we yes or should we not? And I prayed and I asked the Lord about it, but I hadn't quite heard anything yet. So I asked my wife. I says, "What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do?" And sometimes, I trust that the Lord speaks to me, but I also trust that the Lord speaks to her. And she gave me a couple of thoughts, and I thought about it, and then I kind of took it back to the Lord a little bit, and we came up with kind of a game plan about this particular investment thing.
Mm-hmm.
But just talking to your spouse about stuff, it's okay to do that because she might just be right.
Right?
You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Saying that, you talk about financial, you talk about, raising kids, raising grandkids.
Hmm.
I was talking to my mom the other day, and I said, it's funny how the grandparent roles kind of changed throughout the generations, throughout the years. I'm only 46, so I'm a younger grandpa, but yet I'm still a dad to two teenagers, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of times, this is like a new. We have two older grandsons we don't get to see a whole lot, but our two granddaughters we're with all the time. And so my wife, how do we do this? What's the best way to do this? How do we got to find that perfect balance, right? And asking for the help me be the best dad, the best grandpa at the same time.
Yeah.
Grandpa's going to be grandpa all the time, grandma all the time. And
Yeah.
so it's a small part of the life cycle thing there, but you said we have to be able to ask for help. We have the Holy Spirit, even at work. So you ask, you can't do it all. You can't do it all at work. And, I'm sure you guys were filming the movie. You guys were throwing ideas back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
Not just the creator, the producer, and the director doing everything. It's like, I'm sure some input that you gave, other actors, people on the set gave. It's being able to say, you know what, I need help.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that happens a lot in what I do, in films and stuff like that. There's the director's like, he's the boss, but it's a team effort though. It really is. So, and it is that way at home, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What
I
about
think
you, Nick?
asking for help too.
Yeah.
Well, I think asking for help, just personally for me was when I was done in the hospital, I had a lot of PTSD, and just being able to realize that and go to a professional and ask for help to, help me with skills and things to work through that when those feelings happen. I think as guys, that's something that, is a newer thing to be able to talk about our emotional health. And, I think it's a big deal when we're asking for help, that being able to emotionally ask for help from somebody that it may be a professional and be okay with that.
Yeah. Amen.
So it's kind of it's a big deal. And, there are people still in, my family and my wife's family that are men that are, no, that's not real. Just kind of tuck it away and get over your emotional health and, move on. But eventually it comes back to surface in usually bad ways. So,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So what are we talking about? Number 4. This one's big for Ken. Over prioritize hobbies. How Ken?
You call me out.
Me
call
too.
me out like,
Boy, he did, didn't he?
wow.
I had to throw something in there.
Totally
Couldn't go
called you
all
out.
podcast not throwing something in there.
Bad.
So what is your big hobby that you that you do?
I like crocheting.
Shopping for ammo. That's his big hobby.
The big thing for me, one thing I learned over the years is I like to play video games. I originally started playing video games with my oldest son because I want to know who he's playing with, what's he doing, what's he saying, said to him. And at the time, that was my initial goal, is I wanted to protect him, right? And then it got to the point where I was playing every night, every time I had a free time, I had a free moment, I was playing video games and going back to neglecting what was important, which is my family.
Mm.
So I can see where we're talking about over prioritize hobbies, how that can happen, right?
Right.
Especially this past year. And one thing that I learned with helping my wife is like, that's too much time. You need to designate time. And so as I got older and wiser and asked for help or getting help, is, now my time is when everybody's in bed and it's quiet, then I'll play. Nick and I have a gaming channel with another buddy of ours, Brandon, and we try to provide great content for young people that's not foul mouth, it's not crude, it's good Christian fun, and we do that for an hour every Monday night, and that's kind of what we do. We try to prioritize that. If we round to what we've been doing the last year, again, we're going to steps 1 through 5 is golf, maybe going out with the buddies every single night. Maybe it's whatever your hobby is, over prioritizing that of your family.
Yeah.
Again, not asking for help and not seeing that, it's going to take you down a path that it's can lead to destruction.
Right.
Nick,
how about you, Nick?
Yeah, Nick.
That's Ken's I'm the same as Ken. That's why I called him out on that. It's the over prioritizing. I mean, for me, it's gaming. It's always been that way. I really have to focus I really have to consciously, not like remind myself not to do it, because it can become, in lack of a better word, an addiction, right? Like it could be an addiction where it just takes over everything else, and that's all you think about. And so for me, it's really just making sure that that's only extra if there's time. If there's not time, then that doesn't happen, right? That everything else takes priority. But I think me being busy in my other aspect of my life really helps that, because if I had a lot of downtime like people have during COVID, I can see how it would take priority. That could be any habit, right? Or any hobby. So
yeah, like that
what about you?
thing. Like that device thing, like with your phone.
Yes. Same absolutely.
Kind of thing. Right. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so number 5, last but not least, is we move away from vulnerability. It goes back to what I was saying before, just being able to be vulnerable, to be able to talk about, for me, like the way I'm feeling one day, even though it may not be a positive feeling, or may not be the greatest, but being able to express that and have that vulnerability with your spouse, or with somebody that you trust, to be able to give you that feedback, or that reassurance that whatever you're feeling that day or at that time is not of God, and that we can move past it. But just being able to be vulnerable, I mean, with friends, I think guys really kind of tend not to be that way.
Yeah, and being careful not to get your feelings hurt too, because if you're vulnerable and you lay yourself out there, and then somebody stomps on your heart, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my gosh,
you're right.
Thanks a lot. I'm
Absolutely.
vulnerable, and look what you do. So
Yeah.
it's yeah,
If I ever talk to you about anything ever again.
yeah, exactly. I'm never talking to you. So,
yeah, it's kind of funny, because every man has some level of insecurity, right? Whether they're going to admit it or not, there's an area in our life that we won't let people into, right? Because, like you said, somebody's going to step on it. It's going to take me off, and I'm just going to clam up, and I'll go in my hole again, right? I'll just,
right.
And when that gets exposed, we can become aggressive towards others. We become passive. We hide. We get wrapped up in how with actually makes us more isolated, right? Because we're afraid, somebody's going to see the soft spot. Somebody's going to see that I'm not perfect. Somebody's going to see that I can't take care of my family. Somebody's going to see that, I lost my job, and that's going to make me look a certain way.
Right.
When you're like, hey, I need help. I lost my job. I need to help my family. And that's part of that insecurity that guys in the past, I think, have been beaten up so much over, to where the guys that are portrayed in movies and TVs of, beer drinking, remote controlling, wife beating guys, because that's kind of what a lot of people went to.
Yeah.
Like about Nick and I's podcast is, from day one, a manly man is a man who can admit, I need help. Is a man who can say, you know what, I can't do this on my own, right? Changing the the outlook of what a man's supposed to be, not a club thumping Neanderthal. That's what I always say. But somebody's like, you know what, I do need help. I'm not perfect. My family is hurting. How can you help me, right? And getting guys to do that in part is the trick question, But back to the Holy Spirit.
Exactly.
Yep.
And being on the other end of that too, if you're the one that somebody comes to, being very careful about, if you give advice, that you're being led on what kind of advice to give, and not being, Mr. Answer Man, thinking that you have to come up with all the answers. Because, I've had people share things with me, and as they're sharing them with me, and being vulnerable, and as we're talking about, I'm sitting there in my mind, and I'm kind of talking to the Lord. Okay, what do you want me to say to this person? Rather than just, popping off anything off the top of my head, because people don't want to hear the top of your head. They want to hear, what's in your heart, and what God would speak to them through you. Whether they admit that or not, that's all another thing. But
yeah.
So being careful how we talk to people who are coming to us too.
on the set on your movie sets, David, did you
Mhm.
see a lot of this vulnerability in your fellow actors, and did they come to you, and did they, knowing who you were and being a man of God, did they kind of gravitate towards you and, hey, let me talk to you for a minute. Can I just dump on you for a little bit?
Yeah, sometimes yeah, and sometimes no. It kind of depends on the set, but I always pretty much I al- people pretty much know where I'm coming from, and I don't mean that I'm walking around with a Bible thumping people in the head with it, you know, but people pretty much know, within a few minutes, where I'm coming from, that I'm a Christian. Um, but yeah, I have had people come up to me and start talking to me and dumping on me in a good way, and I think I'm a really good listener, and at least better than I used to be. But like I said a minute ago, it's like when people do start talking to me like that, it's like I'm talking to the Lord in my mind. It's like, okay, Lord, I don't know what to say to this guy. What do you want me to say? Or, or this gal or whatever, and let the Holy Spirit, you know, uh, bring something into my heart that might be of value.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's not. I don't have to. A lot of times I don't have a big answer or a big thing to tell them. It's just being a good ear, and and sometimes I'll say almost nothing, and people will walk away. Hey, I really enjoyed our talk. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, I didn't say anything, but it's being a good listener, I guess.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can I share a funny little story? This happened.
Please.
Funny little story about people talking to me. I did a movie about, oh gosh, 10, 12 years ago. I can't remember. It was called Color of the Cross 2, The Resurrection. I played Caiaphas in it. And it was a great role, and I had a great time. But I remember on this, what?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But I remember on this movie, okay, so we're all it's a Christian movie, right? And it has to do with Jesus' suffering. Like I said, I play Caiaphas and all that kind of stuff. And I remember being on the set, and between scenes, I remember one of the other actors came up to me, and he was playing one of the priests, also one of the Jewish rabbis, and he comes up to me and starts talking to me, and he has no clue about Judaism or Christianity or anything. I think I'm pretty sure he was an atheist, and he's just asking me all these questions, trying to understand what was going on. And I was kind of shocked. I thought, because I was kind of under the impression that everybody in this movie was a Christian, and come to find out, almost none of them were. It's like,
Wow.
oh, that's interesting. So anyway, that's my story.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing for them to recognize, because as Christians, we're not like everybody else. We have a different persona. We have a different, I think, a different walk about us, right? Not, a confidence of who we are in Christ,
Right.
and who we are in Christ. People can see that, and people can recognize that in us. And that's cool that they come up and just be like, hey, you know what you're talking about. Let me talk to you. I think that's what Nick and I get is, through conversations, through the podcast, and through emails and stuff like that is, hey, I'm going through this. Like when we first started the podcast, I was talking to my coworker. What are the things you're going through? And they start talking about, like, give us like, talking points, and we just talk about what's going on,
Mhm.
being open. Like you said, sometimes it's just like just listening and asking God what's going on, and then just walk away going, that was great. I felt much better. Good. And be able to,
Yeah.
help people that way. That's sometimes that's all it is. I
Yeah.
think as men, I think we need more of that. Guys getting together and, kind of breaking the mold of what's happened in the last 15 months, and being there for each other, and,
Yeah.
getting upset, and, and being comfortable getting upset and being frustrated, and no judgment. I think we see this next 15 months, a new rise up of men reclaiming their place and reclaiming who they are in Christ, and taking back what was, stolen through this whole thing, and be able to say, you know what, I'm here, I'm back. I turn my stumbling block into a stepping stone, as the saying goes. How can I help you get in that exact same spot? I think these are just 5 different things. We know there's many more. We know there's a lot more out there that can cause us as guys to kind of clam up and pull back. But Nick, David, do you guys have anything else to add to this?
I just want to say one thing. That's what I like about your podcast too, because you guys are you go back and forth and you talk about stuff that guys talk about, and women too, get involved. But it's just casual conversation, and it's really helpful, and it's real. It's real. It's not. I don't know. I don't want to say it's not scripted. I mean, it's not scripted, obviously, but it's just guys talking and helping each other and helping other people that listen. So you guys got a great thing going.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. I think one of the biggest compliments Nick and I got was on Apple reviews. We had a guy tell us, I turned against the church. I'm an atheist. Where were these guys 20 years ago when I was hurt by the church, when I was hurt by other people?
Wow.
These are real. And Nick and I think when we read that, we didn't say anything for like 10 minutes. We're just like, wow.
Well, yeah.
And that's being real. We show our faults. We show our mistakes. We talk about, our hurdles and, near-death experiences, for Nick and real life. It's not about, let's make up the, look at us and everything's, grandiose. Yeah. I'm sitting in a corner, grandiose. Real. And that's what we always said from day one. We want to be real. We don't want to be, scripted. If we go off the cuff and we talk about something else and does 180, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do what God directs us to do.
Good stuff.
And we appreciate your support. We appreciate your prayers. Because Christian podcasters are not really popular, and having each other's back and praying for each other is awesome. And I know Nick and I were just like, gosh, every time you come in and you chat with us, like, to us, we're just like, that is so awesome. And we look up to you because you've been doing this a lot longer than us, and going, how can we, be like this, and how can we help each other out? And so I know, thank you for taking out and spending with us all the technical issues we've we've had, and switching to the phone. So
well, it's very cool. It's my honor to be with you guys today. So thank you for asking me on, and I really enjoyed it. God bless you guys.
You as well. Nick, you got anything you want to add? Or
I want to just echo what you said and just say thank you again, David. Your support means the most to us and our families, and I brag about you that I know an actor. I'm just saying. So I appreciate it. I mean, it's a big for me. It just makes my heart warm knowing that we have somebody out there like you that supports us and listens to us, and it definitely doesn't go unnoticed, and we appreciate it. So
no, amen. It's my honor. So.
Well, Dave, I think
right.
you should definitely plug your movie before we leave, and when's it be released before we get out of here.
A little bit of a breakup there, but I think you asked about the movie when it's going to be released.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The release date for Lost Outlaw anyway it was supposed to be June, but I think it's being pushed back a little bit, like into the fall. I don't have a date yet, but it'll be out all over the place. At least on streaming, platforms and Amazon and whatnot. But again, it's premiering at that theater in Oakhurst, Yosemite on June 17th. So anybody that can come to that, it would be awesome to have them come. So yeah.
And give everybody your social media, your podcasts. Let them know where they can find you.
Okay. Yeah, the podcast is It's All About Relationship. And I'm on Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor, all the main ones. It's all about relationship, or you can plug in David Novak. It's all about relationship. On Facebook, it's David Novak, actor. And on Facebook, it's all about relationship. On Twitter, it's got all this stuff going on. David Novak, actor on Twitter. Let's see. I think you got them all, right? Instagram, David Novak, actor, same thing again. It's all about relationships. So anyway, check it out. Drop me a line, everybody, if you want to, and I'll be glad to, answer as I'm able. So God bless you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Nick?
Awesome. It's good. Yeah. Well, again, I'm going to plug up. So if you guys want to go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And then this episode will be out on all the platforms next Monday. We'll be out on YouTube within the next day or two. When it gets edited, we'll get it up on YouTube and post that it's up available to go watch it anytime you guys want. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, it's been a pleasure. Definitely appreciate it. And for This Guy, That Guy podcast, we're out.
All right. God bless you.
Bye.